Edward Albert Meier, born on February 3, 1937, commonly known as Billy Meier, is a Swiss citizen who gained international attention for his claims of extraterrestrial contacts. Meier alleges that he has been in contact with alien beings from the Pleiadian star system since his childhood. His stories, photographs, and videos of alleged UFOs have been both supported and criticized by various groups and individuals. Meier's claims included detailed descriptions of the Pleiadian spacecrafts, predictions of future events, discussions on spiritual and philosophical topics. He asserts that his extraterrestrial contacts, mainly with an alien named Ta, have provided him with insights into history and future of humanity, as well as advanced scientific knowledge. His photographs of UFOs, taken in the 1970s and 1980s, are some of the most famous and controversial elements in history. In 1987, a documentary team visited his home to interview him and discuss the photographs, videos, and everyone he knew. The team wanted to have scientific analysis done using state-of-the-art technology for that time, using the best doctors and physicists to scrutinize his evidence. The results of the team and physicists all concluded he was telling the truth, as they couldn't explain or recreate any of the pictures and video he provided. This video reflects everything they learned, along with the evidence they analyzed. Please watch this with open minds.
Tuesday, January 28, 1975. A Swiss farmer named Edward Billy Meier takes a series of photographs of what he is later told is a beam ship from the Pleiadian star system. These photographs were the focus of the most exhaustive investigation into the UFO phenomena ever. During the following 5 years, the evidence continued to accumulate. And it was this extensive physical evidence that nudged the curiosity of Nippon Television director and investigative reporter Junichi Aoi, prompting he and his team to join us in October 1979. Having been involved in the research and responsible for the investigation for over 18 months, we welcomed the fresh input. Our team, Wendell Stevens, Tom Welch, myself, Britt Elders, and Lee Elders, had been impressed by the sincerity and openness of the contactee, Edward Billy Meier. During our 5 previous visits, he had always been willing to work with us, answering what must have seemed an endless barrage of questions and ushering us across the Swiss countryside to the numerous contact sites. His Greek wife, Calliope, spoke no English, yet was a gracious hostess, allowing us free rein into her family's private world. And the Meier children recounted their UFO sightings with the exuberance of any other child showing off a new toy. At that time, Billy was struggling to become a self-sufficient farmer. With the help of friends, he was busy turning a run-down piece of property into something livable. He and his family were surviving on 830 Swiss francs a month, paid to him because he had lost a left arm in a bus accident in 1963. Still, this handicapped farmer, with only a 6th grade education, had taken over 800 of the clearest photographs ever seen of extraterrestrial spacecraft. The beam ship photographs, 8mm movie footage, metal specimens, and recorded sounds of the craft had spurred our investigation, and now would become the 2-year focus of Junichi and his crew.
Mr. Meier, now could you tell us about how were you involved in the UFO?
You see, that's a very long story.
Yes.
It begins at 1942 in my birth town called Villach. there on a nice day, a summer day, I have something seen like a flash out of the sky.
Was it night?
No, it was like a silvery flash. And a piece of a second later, that flash came very near, very close to my father and me. We were staying behind the house.
How old was it?
5 years old. And then I have seen it isn't a flash, it was a very, very big disc. And from that time I got some contacts on telepathic way, and about that I was afraid. And I was running to our village priest to ask them what's happened with them, because I was thinking I will come crazy or foolish. And then he told me what's happened about telepathy. And I got into my head something like a voice who was teaching me on several things. And what they told me, I shall not be afraid. And then some time later, month later, I saw a second ship when I was far outside from our village. Then it came down, set on the ground, and then came out a very, very old man. I was thinking about 90, 95 years old. And he took me into his bow, metal bow. It was a spaceship. And took me up about 70 kilometers over the earth for several hours. And that was the real first contact I got.
How did you feel? I mean, how did you get the telepathy?
You see, if I have to explain that, it's somehow difficult. It was like a knowing, and at the same time like a voice.
Voice could hear in your head.
Yeah, but not on that way how I can hear you if you speak now with me. It was something else, but I don't can explain it.
And what did he say to you?
They told me, or he told me, that man, I was thinking about him like that he is looking like a patriarch. And he told me that he is coming from very far in the universe, from other sun systems, from other stars. And that they will bring here some wisdom to teach the people here on earth for a good natural life, humanity, friendship, love, and everything. And then that contact with that old man was going on for 11 years. After that time, he left.
And what was the name of the old man?
His name was Svat.
So what about the first contact? I mean, the old man. Yeah.
He belongs to the Pleiadian.
Pleiadian.
Yeah.
And why he stopped to coming here?
Svat, you mean?
Right.
Just a year ago, I came to know that he, at that time, when he was gone for all the time, that he died.
Oh, I see.
And then 3 hours later, I got another voice in my head from a girl, and there too I got then a contact, and two that was going on for other 11 years, up to the year 1964.
Ascot would become Billy's primary contact as he traveled throughout the Middle East. although she is depicted here in this rare photograph. Meier has released very little information concerning the 11-year training period that preceded the Pleiadian contacts.
To get that picture, I had to ask, and I got the permission to shot them because she didn't return to Earth. If they stay here, it's impossible to get the picture from them.
I see.
They don't want you shot any picture from them if they stay and are working here on Earth.
The Meier family photo album contains numerous old but clear stills that were taken in India of luminous balls. These unusual objects dotted the night skies with brilliant bursts of concentrated light. Some were taken during daylight hours, such as this one with a person in the foreground and 8 double-sphere objects flying over the New Delhi railway station. One of the most spectacular photos shows a disc-shaped craft hovering over the Ashoka ashram. Billy reported that this was Askat's ship.
And then the contact stopped for the third 11 years, and then it started again by the 29th of January 1975. The people from today, what I have contact with them from the Pleiades, is Semyazi. She was the first girl who came when I got the first contact.
And are they coming from their one planet, or they're coming
They
from
call their planet by the name Era, and it belongs to the star picture of Pleiades. It's about 500 light years from the Earth, in the big star picture of the Taurus.
Billy explained that in the beginning the primary reason for the contacts was simply to take the clearest photographs ever seen of IFOs, identified flying objects.
How could you, take those photos?
That's a very funny thing. I have my film camera, my photo camera.
Yes.
If I go outside, the most of the time I carry them with me, but I never can get a picture if I not get the order to shot one. If I can get the picture only by an order of the Pleiadians, and then I will get a real good picture.
Did they tell you a reason why they order to take a picture?
For proof.
Now, when you take a picture, could you describe how you're going to do, how you do like this?
It's very easy.
Yes?
That's a very simple old Japanese photo camera.
Yes.
I can turn here, you see?
Yes.
And that I can do very quick by one hand. That a single camera I can use.
Now you took this picture from this side.
Yeah.
And you took 2 pictures?
Yeah, to the other, a little bit more to the right side, you see?
This is
Like
a little
that.
bit right side.
The other I had, so.
Yes.
And that one, so.
With this camera.
Yeah.
Yes. So you were sitting over here.
Yeah, I was sitting here. I had my camera here, and I was eating something. And then she came and I took the picture like that.
And it's very easy to use in one hand.
I say that's the single one I can use. All the other they are too complicated because you need 2 hands to handle them.
Just take it this way.
Yeah.
It's very easy.
That's very easy.
I see.
It's very quick.
And, when you are taking a picture, there should be many people walking on the road or, living in the house and, or, running the car. They might see the same thing.
You see, that's very funny. If you take this here, you think that's now the ship. I'm staying here with my camera. Everything around the ship, up, down, behind, right side, will be closed. Nobody can see anything. There is a free line only to see something through here, the camera, or to my face, to my eyes. Then I'm staying here, get the picture, to get the picture from the ship. You stay there by the lamp or by the tree. You can't see anything because there the sighting will be closed for you. It only will be open this way to the camera. And this happens the most time.
And how about this one? You use the tripod with this?
With them, yeah.
Yes.
I put it on the tripod. Then I have here an automatic. And then it works.
I see.
And two, it's a camera that I can handle by one hand only. It's here.
I see.
That's the single one I can find.
And at that time, when was it?
It was outgoing wintertime, I think 1976.
The same year of that
Yeah,
shot.
it was the same day.
Same day?
Yeah.
And how the saucer coming?
We have had to go there to the front to tell you. You see there behind the mountain?
Yes.
About a third part from here to the mountain.
Yes.
The ship was moving from the left side to the right side. Right side, left side, right side. Always on that way.
Yes.
And then at later time, before it left, by sunset, it moves behind that tree. You have seen the picture, and there I got 3 pictures by my photo camera.
So how many hours altogether from the beginning?
Altogether, I've been here up for about 2 hours.
2 hours?
Yeah.
How many pictures did you take?
Between 70, 90, 100, I don't know exactly. Most of them I lost somewhere, stolen, I don't know.
The film and photographs taken here on the windswept ridge of Hassenbul were the most impressive. After comparing the stills taken in 1976 with the actual location, Billy and Junichi walk and measure the site. The distance from the camera to the tree was 52 yards. The height of the tree was 31 feet, and the diameter was 21 feet, which visually correlated to the reported size of the beam ship.
When was going down the sun, also by the sunset, it moves here behind, few meters behind the tree, and then I got here 3 pictures. And the sun was somewhere there behind over the horizon.
And how many minutes it stayed here?
Oh, this was maybe 20 seconds, 30 seconds, not more.
Mm.
And in that time I got this tree pictured. It was maybe, I don't know exactly, maybe 5 meters behind, 3 meters behind, I don't know.
And when was it? This one?
That was 1976, I think.
76.
Yeah.
Should be autumn.
It was evening time.
Mm-hmm.
But the time I don't remember exactly.
But I think it's a very huge one, like this. And where was the UFO? This also.
About 3 to 5 meters here,
Somewhere
behind
around here,
the tree.
yes.
Yeah, somewhere here up.
Oh. And nothing behind the tree.
There is nothing behind the tree. A deep valley, that's all.
Right. But this ship is very huge, maybe 7 meter. 7 meter across. This is a scenery which you taken the UFO. So.
Yeah, when it was hanging there over the hill.
Yeah.
Now there was up a couple of trees, cut the trees.
Yes. Was it Pleiadian or Pluto?
Yeah, it was Semyasi. Yeah.
Uh-huh. So you heard her voice?
Yeah, in
Only
my
her
head
voice.
by telepathic way.
I think. And how was the size? How big was that?
7 meters.
7 meters.
Yeah.
Have you
All
seen?
the ships what she has,
Mm-hmm.
they are by 7 meters in diameter.
Have you seen the inside of the interior of the UFO?
Yeah, I many times was inside the ship.
Mm-hmm.
They took me up to other place and so.
How did it look like?
Oh,
You have many machines?
A very modern thing, you know, with small televisions,
Mm-hmm.
apparatus and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like a factory.
Oh.
A watching central, you know.
Mm-hmm. I see. So do they have a bed to sleep?
No, it isn't a bed. There are 3 seats in it.
Mm.
And they can change them, and then they can sleep in it.
Oh, I see.
It's very bequem.
Mm. So it should be somewhere around here?
Oh, I think it was more that side.
Yes.
Here about
There's log.
was
Yes. Wood.
long wood, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the ship, I think, it was hanging somewhere here up.
Yes. Between here and there.
Between here and there, yeah.
Yes. Oh.
What's this about? 110, 120 meters from here to there.
Did you try to close to it? Did you try to walk down too close to the UFO?
No, you see, if I take pictures, they always tell me you have to stay there.
Oh.
We will be here and you have to be there.
Ah, I see.
I can't go so close to get some special things on the picture, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It doesn't allow it.
Oh.
Months earlier, 3 35mm stills had been extensively analyzed. This one was coded the woodpile scene and had been examined by Neil Davis, a physicist and aerospace engineer. He tested them with a microdensitometer and determined that the analysis of the separations did not reveal any details that would cast doubt on their authenticity. The conclusion of his report states, "Nothing was found in the examination that would cause me to believe the object in this photograph is anything other than a large object photographed some distance from the camera." The photographs were not the only physical evidence undergoing detailed scrutiny. Marcel Vogel, a senior scientist and chemist with IBM, had been carefully analyzing the tiny metal fragments Semyasa had given Billy. Metallurgical analysis had revealed the presence of the rare earth element thulium, but it was through the lens of a scanning electron microscope that Vogel made his most amazing discoveries.
I could not explain the type of material that I have and its discreteness by any known combination of materials. I could not put it together myself as a scientist. If I were to take these combinations and put it into a furnace, melt it, then pour it out and pull a little ingot, I would see all of these elements present there in any one area. But I don't. I see this discrete bits of material. Now, it can only happen by some form of a cold fusion process where you have the elements present and you fuse them together so they still maintain their identity, but they interpenetrate into one another. It's also a challenge because I showed it to one of my friends who was a metallurgist, and he shook his head. He said, I don't see how it can be put together. And that's the way we are right now. And I think it's important that those of us who are in the scientific world sit down and do some serious study on these things instead of putting it off as figments of people's imagination.
Could I say this material is extraterrestrial?
It doesn't look like anything that we've made here. At this moment, I would feel very much inclined to accept what was given to me as being true.
I see.
I respect the people I have met so far, their integrity, their willingness to work. Mr. Della Rosa in his work on photography, and Mr. Stevens, the way he has done his best to give me specimens. We have all done this for one thing, to serve and to find out what truth there is to this.
At Dr. Hornley, on the 26th of March, 1976, Billy took a remarkable series of 35mm stills depicting two distinctively different beamship variations. The purpose of this demonstration was to allow Billy the opportunity to obtain what he calls photo proofs by photographing beamships with known objects such as this tree branch. But the 35mm stills were only a portion of the photographic evidence gathered that day at Dr. Hornley. Billy took several minutes of 8mm movie footage as well. Here, the film has been cut. The tampering took place when Billy allowed an individual in Germany to borrow it for personal examination. Irregardless, this footage was extraordinary because it offered a rare glimpse of a Variation 3 beamship and two remote-controlled scout ships, all in the same scene. The bobbing is due to the craft riding the waves of the Earth's magnetic surface, very much like that of a boat on the waves of an ocean. One of the stills taken at Dr. Hornley would undergo computer enhancement, allowing the opportunity to study the intricate details of this beamship. In June of 1975, at Berg Rumlikon, Billy took over 75 stills of this Variation 2 ship. The sun can clearly be seen reflecting off the craft's metallic skin. And once again, Billy had his movie camera.
How about this? Is this the same one, same day?
The same day. That's all the same film. That's the first place in Rumlikon we was yesterday. And here the ship is jumping away. There the film isn't cut on that place when the ship jumps away. It's nearly the speed of light and you can't see anything. It is here and it goes.
Japanese analysis of this footage would reveal, through super slow motion, that an unexplained light shift occurs 3 frames prior to the beamship's dematerialization and rematerialization. It is believed that the craft is emitting some form of energy 3/20ths of a second prior to its disappearance or reappearance. One of the most important contact sites was less than 5 minutes from the Meier farm and located in a nature preserve. Obersatellege offered a unique look at a complete sequence of stills. These scenes, taken in the spring of 1975, were coded the Tree Line series. This photo was selected for detailed analysis because it offered excellent reference points for computer triangulation. Trees to the front, side, and rear. Measurements were taken from the camera's point of view to where Junichi and Billy stood, near where the beam ship was reported to hover. The distance between objects and points of reference were checked and rechecked for accuracy. Then the measurements were fed into a computer, and the edges of known objects, such as the trees, are translated into pixels. Since these measurements are known, the number of pixels in the edge of the unknown object, the craft, gives its distance. The beam ship is determined to be precisely where Billy said it was, and mathematical triangulation gives its size, 7 meters, or about 21 feet in diameter. Junichi, like our team, had been fascinated by the Meier photography, yet cautious. He had investigated UFOs around the world and never before seen photographs or movie footage this detailed. It seemed too good to be true. Yet when questions arose, there was always another piece of footage to stir the sense of wonder. Close examination of this footage clearly shows the craft moving behind the large tree. When the size of the beam ship is compared to that of the tree and the farmhouse, it becomes obvious that it would be impossible to suspend it with strings. In addition, the top of this enormous tree is seen to move as the craft passes over it. This movement can be attributed to the backwash of air created by the beam ship. With a full day scheduled, we left the farmhouse early to visit more contact sites. As we rounded a curve, Billy halted the Land Rover to point out his native village, Hindwell. As the cameraman began to film the valley, sounds of a small aircraft could be heard over the natural sounds of the Swiss countryside, and another mystery begins to unfold. Wanting to re-examine the site at Hassenbull, Junichi and his crew began lining up Billy's shots with the natural landmarks in the area. But as he begins the interview, the mysterious airplane returns, ruining the soundtrack and forcing a decision to move on to the next site, Schmarbuhl. After 2 hours of driving, we reached the village of Schmarbuhl. Filming had just begun when Junichi interrupted the interview.
Is that
And there's there's the airplane out there. A train that every time we take a picture, we take a videotape. You know, the airplane kind.
Always are airplanes around. No,
Yeah.
I don't know that.
They are watching us.
Once again discouraged, we traveled to Winkelried, some 50 miles to the southeast.
And next one is somewhere from here.
that's in that direction? Yeah. You see here the saddle in the forests there on the horizon, and the ship a little bit more left by side.
Yes. Now it was cloudy at that time.
It was cloudy at that day.
Now we can hear the sounds of airplane again.
Yeah. It's always the same. You see, when I got all my pictures, my films, all the times was there airplanes. Practically by every place where I shot pictures.
Junichi was visibly frustrated by the uninvited intruder. Meier was obviously under surveillance, but he had been for some time. Lee remembers.
And he hasn't taken any, Jim, he hasn't taken any daylight footage for 2 years. There's been several reasons to that, as we understand it. One has been the fact that 2 years ago, Billy was under heavy surveillance. We don't know who it was. All we know, there was a Volkswagen. It was equipped with what appeared to be parabolic microphones, maybe some form of ground-to-ground radar. I don't know. But they followed him everywhere he went. Every time he went out for a contact, he had a shadow with him.
Billy's problems actually began in 1976 with the first release of his story and some of the photos to the European press. Soon, every major magazine and newspaper featured an article on Billy Meier. These sensational press releases were responsible for bringing in hordes of well-wishers, friends, curiosity seekers, and in overall a general public seeking more information. But it also attracted the negative element. After a close call on his life, Billy armed himself and became less trusting.
So finally, he just quit. They stopped having contacts in daylight hours, and they moved him up early evening, and eventually they went into the early wee hours of the morning.
Herbert Runkle recalls one such event.
It was near Hinwil. It was in the night, near 1 o'clock in the morning, and Billy was going to a contact, and Semyase told him that after the contact she will give a demonstration for the people, and when the contact was finished, we can see there are many other people also stay there. We can see the ship is rising out of the wood, going to the sky, stopped. It was a dark red light, and then stopped, going to the right, going to the left, and I have a camera with me, a Super 8 movie camera, and I tried to get it in the objective, but I was so nervous.
Also present at the demonstration was Hans Schutzbach. He too was nervous, but he did manage to take this interesting night footage. Here the beam ship jumps, as was described by Herbert earlier, becoming brighter, then disappearing. Some of the best stills taken during the demonstration belong to an Austrian man, Guido Nussberger. Another photograph he took that evening was even more intriguing. Guido's daughter, Anita, holds the picture as he traces the distinct outline of the beam ship. Guido's photo remained an oddity until a few months later, when a second unusual photograph appeared. Wendell explains.
A stranger seeing somebody off on an airliner at Cloten Airport here in Zurich had simply taken a picture of the airliner with a Polaroid camera. When the picture came out of the camera, this is what she got. She put it in an envelope with a note saying that this thing happened at the airport. She didn't know anything about these things, and she didn't want anybody to know who she was. And she put it in an envelope and mailed it to the newspaper with no return address. The newspaper published the picture, inviting her to get in contact with them so they could pay for it. But the picture is unique because it has a similar shaped spacecraft. It has a field around it and an expanded field here. The picture was taken to a local photography shop. A man recognized as an expert here in Zurich who looked at the picture and said he couldn't account for any way that this picture could get on this film, on Polaroid film. The lady did not remember seeing anything when she took the picture except the airplane.
There were other witnesses, too. Most were disbelievers at first, until they had their own experiences. When Calliope, or Bobby as she is called, first learned of the contacts, she questioned her husband's sanity.
In 76 im Juni. 45.
Today, after many personal sightings, she finds the encounters routine and feels that the Pleiadian message to mankind is far more important than the evidence. The Meier children openly discuss their sightings. They're proud of their father's contacts. Atlantis displays a painting of an object that he, his older sister Gilgamesha, and his younger brother Methuselah observed while waiting for their father to return from a contact.
Und dann und er geflogen, ist es so rüber, dann wieder so, und dann ist es ausgegangen.
Elsie Moser is a schoolteacher living in the Zurich area. She first heard of the Meier experiences from a friend in the summer of 1976.
Mm-hmm. So after you saw many things?
Then, yes, not just the first time, I realized that I could see it.
Mm-hmm.
Then the second time too, and so I'm sure.
Since early 1975, over 40 people from all different walks of life have at one time or another been part of the Meier experience. Herbert Runkel came from Munich not only to act as a translator for Junichi, but also to describe as a witness his many experiences.
I come out on this place, and from this front, Billy and one woman was coming. They made a walk in the morning, and I go here, near this, and then I light my cigarette and look around to this area, and then one light switch on, maybe here, yes, and it's going this way over the house, and near the antenna, it was so bright.
Oh, how big was it?
How? This one.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
Like a small ball.
I see.
And it was a quite cold light, very intensive, yes. And then the object is going away over the woods. And since going away, the light will be small, dimmed, yes. And on this time, Billy get a telepathic contact, and Semyaza sends greetings to all persons on this area here.
And did you see the object itself? Or?
The object itself, not clearly. It was a very intensive light, you know. It was so... I need glasses, maybe.
Oh,
yes.
It's all right.
But the light was very concentrated. The light don't go away. It was concentrated on a point, and like this.
And did it lit up somewhere here?
Nothing.
No?
Nothing. It was quite dark. It was brightly sky. There are many stars. And it was a little bit the sunrise, you know, in summer.
Did you hear the noise or sound?
Nothing. It was quietness.
I see.
Yeah.
And is that the first time you saw the UFO?
No, this was fourth time. Yes.
Fourth time?
The fourth time, but the first time on this area, on this place here.
Oh,
Yeah.
Where is it? This one?
On this place. The other sites will be seen in the near of Hinwil.
Where is it?
It's about 25 kilometers from here. It was it is a little village. Billy was living there for some years.
Oh.
And he changed his flat and come here in the April of 1977. Yes.
So a year before,
Yeah.
he moved to here.
He moved to here.
I see. So how many years did you investigate?
I know Billy since the 14th of July 1976. I read in a magazine about these things, and I don't believe it at first. And I come here to meet Billy, to talk with him. And then I saw many, many photos, films, and so on. And it's very incredible.
And now, what do you think?
No, I can't think. I say it's real. I saw the objects by myself and many, many other things.
Herbert had filmed the landing tracks shortly after the event had taken place. The footprints of the Pleiadian beam ships were unique.